same.
I believe he was 11th in Charleston.
Somewhere in the, yeah, he's top 16. I don't know the
just out of the top 8. And his opponent, Chris Shepard, is playing another deck that's been doing very well at Grand Prix and at Star City Opens.
Yeah, he's playing Black Red Zombies. He is playing the Sacrifice build, the Blood Artist combo build of it, with a full 3 Mark of Mutinies. So a little different than what we've been seeing in some of the straight Black Red decks.
All right, so he's got the Falconwrath Aristocrat, which is kind of a norm these days, but also the Bloodthrone Vampire to be able to sacrifice things.
All right, so in our game, both players have kept on 7s, Ollie on the play with just a Sun Petal Growth.
And Chris Shepard starts out with Cavern of Souls, obviously naming zombies, and a Gravecrawler. Ollie plays a Hinterland Harbor, tapped, passes the turn.
So while Ollie's deck is definitely a 5-color deck, it still focuses on Thragtusk. The things it does have going with, are 4 Thragtusk, 4 Huntmaster, and that's really the backbone of the deck with 4 Farseeks. Ollie is on 6 cards, however. We originally said they both kept 7s. That's not true. Ollie's down 1 card.
Gravecrawler attacks for 2. Dragon Skull Summit tapped, go for Chris Shepard. That's not the best opening for an aggro deck.
Right. As it actually stands, it's probably... What that does tell us is that, Ollie's not going to get great value out of his Detention Sphere, and probably Chris has kept a hand full of haste creatures in the heavier end of the deck.
All right, and a Lingering Souls for Ollie. He gives him 2 1/1 Spirit blockers. That's pretty good against the Gravecrawler here. We'll see if Chris plays a land and a Geralf's Messenger. No. Stuck on 2, he goes with a Knight of Infamy, which will at least allow the Gravecrawler to trade due to the Exalted trigger.
It looks like Ollie's going to accept that trade. He has to worry a little bit that Chris Shepard will just drop another zombie if he makes that play. In the end, the Lingering Souls are just there to buy time until he can play bigger spells. Right,
and just preventing 3 damage here because he can't block the Knight of Infamy with the Pro White.
The question is going to be whether it's a double block or a single block.
Now, one of the difficult things about coverage here as a judge is that the trigger policy now, we don't know if Exalted has been declared. It looks like Ollie's going to block with 2, so most likely yes. And there you go, trade with the Gravecrawler.
And Chris Shepard does not have the 3rd land. He wasn't just saving it until after combat. That's going to give Ollie a pretty good opening here. If he can get to this 5th land up to Garruk Primal Hunter, which he doesn't have the 5th land yet. But if he can get to it before Chris hits his 3rd land, that'll be very strong for Ollie.
Knight of Infamy attacks for 3, taking Ollie to 15.
And no plays by Chris Shepard.
Ollie's got a Cavern there, supposing that he named...
Not entirely sure what he's named yet. The only thing he's cast has been Lingering Souls off it, so it was used for colorless there. To be honest, it probably doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter in this matchup unless he needs it for some kind of fixing.
My guess is what he would name Demon off of it. He does play 1 Gristlebrand in his deck, and it's easily the hardest thing in his deck to cast. And that's true, it did name Demon.
And Chris Shepard, still stuck on 2 lands, has added a Blood Artist to the board. So this is not an ideal start for the Black-Red Zombies deck.
No, definitely not. Because he's playing the Sacrifice build, he doesn't need to be as blazingly fast as some of the other Black-Red decks. He has a better late game. And the fact that Ollie hasn't really gotten a 5th land either means that this is he's not out of this yet, but certainly this is not what he wants to be doing.
Knight of Infamy attacks again, and there's the Blood Crypt. Chris Shepard has a 3rd land, and now...
a pair of Rakdos Cacklers.
Cackle, cackle, cackle. Both unleashed.
Right. So now Ollie's on notice that the pace of the game is speeding up dramatically here.
He needs to do something on this turn to turn this around.
He has drawn Supreme Verdict. He does not have the 2nd white mana for it, unfortunately. So this turn doesn't take a lot of damage this turn.
It's going to take at least 6. We could very well see Chris drop a land and a Falconwrath Aristocrat.
Yeah, and that would be something that Ollie really would have trouble dealing with. Blood Artist down for Chris Shepard.
Blood Artist good as well.
6 damage puts Ollie at 7, and really at virtually 3, because Ollie has very few ways to deal with these creatures without killing them.
He has the Supreme Verdict here.
Yeah, he has 1 detention. Well, he doesn't have the mana for it, even if he has it.
Right, so he has to draw the second white.
Second white, Verdict, and then just hope Chris doesn't have a burn spell.
Well, he's got something there. Is that his land?
Overgrown Tomb. Yeah, so Garrick's going to be played Prime Hunter, making a 3/3 to block. It seems pretty likely that Chris Shepard is just going to ignore the beast, or even worse, may Mark of Mutiny it.
Oh, Mark of Mutiny.
Yeah, remember, Chris Shepard playing 3 marks in the main deck.
And as for other removal, he might also have a Singleton Victim of Night in his hand. A couple of Tragic Slips, not quite as good. Oh, but there's a 4th land.
Yeah, it seems
Dragon Skull Summit.
It seems pretty likely that Chris has a card that can win the game here. You see Falconwrath Aristocrat just off the top of your screen. And that should be good enough to be lethal if they just all swing at Ollie.
No, what?
Alright, well, I mean, this was still lethal.
Okay.
It exalts 5, sack 2 guys.
Sure. I would have just attacked. I
like that.
Throwing the last thing on the board and turning everything sideways. Like, I didn't really do the math, but I hope you
did.
But
this is enough.
Yeah, right?
It's gotta be.
It's gotta be enough. I got the Blood Artist too. So now they're gonna go to sideboard. Ollie really didn't get off the ground there. Didn't have the right colors for his Supreme Verdict. So he's gonna have to get some more early disruption to slow down this black-red zombies deck.
Right.
So his options are he's gonna bring in some Tragic Slips most likely. He's got 2 of those. He's got 2 Centaur Healers.
Yeah, and also he has a pair of Rock's Faith Menders, which is probably really the backbone of his anti-zombie plan.
Ooh.
Yeah, that one curving into Thragtusk. That one's curving into probably the Faith Mender. If he can curve Faith Mender into Thragtusk, because Thragtusk is still the most important card in this matchup. 10
life.
10
doubling
life.
all life gain.
Right.
But just the fact that it's a 1/5.
That's nothing
pretty good
to
too.
sneer at either.
And for Chris Shepard, Black-Red Zombies, what's he got? He didn't see very much. He saw the Detention Sphere. He sees that he's playing against a multi-color control deck. He's got 2 Appetite for Brains, which will likely come in.
Those will almost certainly come in.
Duress as well.
Yep,
he's going to want to take one of
Duress.
those spells.
Possibly Zealous Conscripts as well.
Possibly. He didn't see anything notable. He saw Garrick, but he has to assume that his opponent is on some kind of Thragtusk plan.
Yeah, I mean, when you see, I don't think there are many decks that play Garrick Primal Hunter without first playing a full set of Thragtusks.
And for this deck, it's such a devastating play to Zealous Conscript, steal a Thragtusk, attack with it, and sacrifice it so you get the beast.
Right, so I mean, I don't know how much he wants to overload on it. Like I said, he already has 3 Mark of Mutinies, but it to me seems very strong just to really threaten most everything in the deck.
Right, but I think he can take out his Tragic Slips here, because that's not really where you want to be against a control deck. And then Ollie, what is Ollie going to take? Oh, Nico Bolas Planeswalker in his deck. This is really something else.
Yeah, so Ollie's deck, like I said, the first thing he has is his backbone of Huntmaster, Huntmaster, Lingering Souls, Farseek, Thragtusk, and after that is really just a smattering of 1-ofs. I suppose it also has 3 Lingering Souls.
And so he can just take out the worst of his 1-ofs. Abrupt Decay is not very good here against a all creature and burn deck.
Yeah, Abrupt Decay may be fine in some, well, it doesn't really answer the haste creatures, which is probably why he doesn't like it. If he had an instant speed answer to something like Aristocrat or Dragon or well, I suppose he's not even. This isn't even the Dragon version. This is because this is the combo-oriented version. It might be nice in that it's a way to get rid of Blood Artist.
Curse of Death Soul. He's got 2 of those in the main.
He's 2 in the main. I don't think they're going anywhere, especially against the Blood Artist version. That card seems really nice.
And 4 Huntmaster of the Fells. So, Ollie's got enough tools here. He just kind of hiccuped on his mana, didn't have the right spells or the right combination of lands to play those spells.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this next one's going to be looking good, especially on the play. Being on the play against a deck with 1-drops, pretty good feeling, right?
It's pretty important. The triple 1-drop starts are just so much more powerful. Triple and double 1-drops are so much more powerful on the play than they are on the draw. You know, 1 Centaur Healer will really take care of that draw. Will take care of that kind of game plan when you're on the play. When you're on the draw, that's usually not enough. So remember, in round 7, both players here, it's looking for what is likely going to be 2 more wins this round and next round. We'll start before our top 8 will start to take form.
Yeah, so we're here in round 7.
Yes.
Of 10. 661, I believe, was the final player count. Somewhere 660 something was the final player count here in Baltimore. A great showing, fantastic to see. And tomorrow, the Legacy Open, hopefully we'll crack 300, maybe go for the record, which I believe is like 351 for a Legacy Open. And your Legacy Open head judge is actually on camera right now, sitting there next to Chris Shepard. That's Mr. Aaron Stickney, level 2 from Roanoke. All right. We brought him out because he wanted a chance to have a big show, and it's looking like it's going to be one tomorrow. Here we go. Chris presents. And shuffle your opponent's decks. I believe I see the Lavender of one Wes Wise in the background. He is also undefeated.
So for those of you at home, the standings on the website haven't been working. We've been having some difficulty with the standings, so we figure right now with our 10 players remaining, for those of you who have checked with friends or want to know who's doing well, I'm going to list out quickly our 10 current undefeated players. Are Justin Parent, Ali Aintrazi, Lyle Rolfs, who you saw win last round with Zombies, Joel Parody, Kenny Mayer, David Falk, Wes Wise, Chris Shepard, Sam Rukas, and Trevor Humphreys.
The final 10. And this time it's Chris's turn to send it back. So both players now mulligan when they're on the draw. Oh no, Ollie was on the play, wasn't he?
Ollie's on the play last round with the mulligan. What Ollie's got to hope for in this matchup is, I think the best card he can see in his opener is going to be Farseek. Maybe, well, outside of Thragtusk. His deck is a little slow, and while it's powerful, the best thing he can do in his early is to get to his late game faster.
Yeah, I think it's fine to say Farseek is the best card to see in his opening hand.
In his opening hand. Well, I mean, in particular in this matchup, there's some matchups where I think it's really okay to keep non-Farseek hands, where it's more like the consistency of your threats that matters. Whereas in this matchup, it's going to be the speed of his threats that matter.
And the fixing. Like, if he had a Farseek last game,
right,
he would have been able to Supreme Verdict.
Right.
And here we go, game number 2. Ollie starts off with a Temple Garden, Chris Shepard. Cavern of Souls naming Zombie.
There's a Diagraph Ghoul from Chris Shepard. Ollie on the play here. He really has a land heavy hand. He has put in Abrupt Decay, and he's going to take 2 damage there. Apparently, he's going to pretty much a big commitment to Abrupt Decay the Diagraph Ghoul.
So why play it untapped and then just pass the turn?
Well,
is there anything really you're afraid of?
No, I'm not sure. Chris Shepard has kept a 1-lander. He made another Diagraph Ghoul. No, I don't really see the reason. I might have even taken the 2 damage there so that I could then play it in conjunction with Tragic Slip on the next turn. You aren't losing life because you actually are essentially getting hit by the Diagraph Ghoul when you play a Shock land. Either way, Ollie's getting very far ahead on mana.
Yeah, he's accelerated now with his Chromatic Lantern.
Chris Shepard, more Diagraph Ghouls.
All the ghouls, or at least 3 of them. And they're all the promo version. I believe the Game Day Full Art.
Huntmaster of the Fells. Ali, I like what he's done here with Chromatic Lantern, is he's doing a deception thing with it. He has Tragic Slip as his one trick up, and he's intentionally not leaving up a black mana for it.
Right, because everything makes all the mana.
Right, so even though everybody, intellectually, his opponent knows that everything makes all mana, but there's just this thing where when you look at Sun Petal Grove, you don't immediately think Tragic Slip. But if you're looking at Overgrown Tomb, you would. So I really like how Ali's intentionally mistapping his lands here.
Intentionally mistapping.
Well, mistapping, I suppose I put in quotes. Clearly it's not. But,
air quotes.
But it looks like one.
Chris Shepard finally gets a second land. It's a Blood Crypt. He pays the 2 life.
Knight
of Infamy. Well, again, that's very good in this situation when you have a board full of 2/2s.
The difficulty here is that Chris Shepard doesn't have a good answer to Ali just passing the turn and flipping Huntmaster.
Okay, so Chris tried to attack there, and Ali says, hold up.
He's debating Tragic Slipping the Knight. I don't actually like that play right now because I think that the Tragic Slip is a pretty valuable commodity. It's the only spell left in Ali's hand. Right, I think Ali comes to the conclusion, a flipped Huntmaster will take care of this whole board, but there might be some card in Chris's hand that flipped Huntmaster won't take care of right away.
Yeah, he doesn't have to Tragic Slip the Knight. All he has to do here is say go.
Yeah, not to mention that Tragic Slip will be one of the 2 spells if he wants to start flipping his Huntmaster back. He wants to make sure that his hand has spells with which to do that. That is an aggressive. Yeah, that's an aggressive not attack there.
Ali decides to attack with his 2/2 Wolf token.
I like that attack because Ali's flooding out, and it's good to be playing against a land screwed opponent, but there's this thing that when your opponent's land screwed, you know that they're just one land away from just wrecking you.
A grip full of spells.
So Ali wants to press his advantage before that happens, before Chris's whole hand is activated.
And he does so. He passes the turn, flips his Huntmaster into Ravager of the Fells, dealing 2 damage to the Knight of Infamy and Chris Shepard.
So Chris now at 14. He's just got to survive till he can hopefully hit all the cards in his hand. There's also, though, the danger that Ali will draw one of his haymakers. Ali, for example,
another Knight
is 1 land away from playing Gisela or something equally hard to deal with.
And Chris, in the face of the 4/4, is forced to pass the turn.
Yeah, and a great draw from Ali. He drew Lingering Souls, which will count as 2 spells to flip the Huntmaster if he so chooses.
Right, so he's not going to want to attack here.
I wouldn't.
Because he may have kind of given away the Tragic Slip earlier if Chris was paying attention.
I suppose if he gets a triple block here, that'll be fine. The only way the Ravager will die is if Chris opts for a triple block.
So now Chris has to decide. He wants to take out the Ravager, so at the very least, we're going to see a double block with the zombies. No.
Yeah, I think he kind of smelled that something's up.
He might not know what the trick is, but the way Ali paused and was kind of fiddling with his mana, he's afraid of something.
Right. So now we're going to see 2 halves of a Lingering Souls, and that's going to that's going to be very strong. 4 spirits and flip Huntmaster, Ravager back into Huntmaster.
Ali going back up to a comfortable 19 life.
Yeah, and I think Chris's lands have just not come in time. There are a few turns where he would have been okay, but the mana screw's been going on long enough that this is getting pretty ugly for him.
Yeah, he's been able to play spells. He's played 3 Diregraphed Ghouls and 2 Knight of Infamies, but none of those are really the pressure spells that he needs in this matchup.
Exactly. Another Knight of Infamy. He doesn't want to do Ali's work for him in flipping Huntmaster.
And he could get in there.
Even so,
he could attack with his other Knight.
Yeah.
Because it's going to get too exalted. Yeah, okay. He holds back. Ali Aintrazi now. He's counting up the damage he's got. Gets in with all of his tokens. 4/1/1 Flying Spirits and a 2/2 Wolf.
And there's a Curse of Death's hold in Ali's hand. It's just kind of unnecessary at this point, but I think he'll do it. I think he'll take it. Well, he opted not to play a pre-combat, so sure.
Which means he's probably not going to play.
He's just going to
here.
do nothing.
Yeah, he doesn't want to give away that's
he
in his
has
deck.
one.
He's got the advantage here. He can just pass the turn and flip his Huntmaster again.
Yep. And that's
just going to devastate this Chris Shepard's board.
Right.
So the Diagraph Ghoul traded with the Wolf token. Ollie passes, flips into Ravager. Chris packs it up, yeah.
All right.
Dead to the spirits.
Moving on to game 3. Chris on a Mull to 6 keeps the 1-lander with a lot of 1-drops. I like that kind of hand on a Mull to 6. We didn't see it pan out, but I really like the high-risk, high-reward hands on a mulligan. The last thing you want to do is take a hand that is okay but unexciting. When you're down a card, that really hurts. But you can nut draw someone. Those are the kind of hands where you don't need extra cards.
He had action in his hand.
Right. It's like he had 1 Cavern and 3 Diagraph Ghouls, and you know if you're on the draw, if I draw a second untapped black land, I can go 1-drop. I can do the triple 1-drop start, which sometimes is enough to win on its own.
He could have drawn the Diagraphs. What if he only had one Diagraph and then drew them on consecutive turns?
At 1 Diagraph, I suppose at 1 Diagraph Cavern, now I'm not liking the hand very much. I might still be keeping it, but I'm very not happy.
But
I don't even know.
Doesn't that happen to you all the time? Like, you keep the 1-lander, you're just like, oh, more dorks. Great.
More dorks.
That happens to me.
I think it was just 1-drop in the Cavern. I think you're supposed to ship it back.
You probably had 2.
All right. At 2 is where I start. Is where I'm okay. Is where I like it.
And now we see both players going back to their sideboards because this matchup, the dynamic really changes whether you're on the play or draw.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised to see Chris go back to a sideboard in that he probably is not entirely sure what's going on with Ollie's deck. You know, at this point he knows that Ollie's deck, it's kind of like a Naya deck. It probably, I know it's not, but it plays like a Naya deck. It's a chromatic. I mean, he knows it's a chromatic lantern deck, so it probably has anything. But I would expect to see Naya cards coming.
The lantern, yeah, would be kind of surprising.
Right. I mean, well, there's some things that are surprising in that they surprise you, and you're like, I don't even know what he's doing. I don't know how to board against it. So lantern's really surprising. When you see it across the table from you, you're like, well, my guess is he's going to play really good cards of all 5 colors. Right. Like, I can't see what else he'd be doing with lantern. But the big cards that Chris cares about are the Naya ones. You know, the Thragtusks, the Huntmasters.
So do you board against what you saw or what you think is going on? Because he's seen the Lingering Souls and the Huntmasters, and Chris got aggroed out there by Ollie's aggro components. But
sure. So
you can't really plan against.
So what I would say on this side of the board, so if I was Chris Shepard, say I don't know Ollie's list. What I'd say is it appears that I got aggroed out, but it doesn't look like Ollie's an aggro deck. Aggro decks don't play chromatic lantern.
Yeah.
So what I would think Ollie was doing was I'd say, well, it looks like Ollie's just playing a stack of really good cards. Like that's what Lingering Souls and Huntmaster have in common, is that they're both excellent. So I would kind of presume, first of all, I think you have to presume his deck has Thragtusks in it. I mean, it's green, right? It's a control deck that's green. It does have to be Thragtusks. Yeah. So at that point, once you know Lingering Souls, Huntmaster, Thragtusk, I think as Chris Shepard, I know how to board now. You know, I know enough about a deck that has those. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if I saw a Restoration Angel. Turns out he doesn't have them, but I wouldn't, I'd be on the lookout for one if I were Chris Shepard.
No, the only angel in Ollie's deck is Gisela.
It's Gisela, right. Probably not anyone's first guess or second guess.
No, not at all. That's the red and white one, right?
That's the red one, yes.
Because when we were first talking about it, in my head, I saw the green-white one.
Oh, a Sigarda.
Yeah,
right.
Host of Herons.
Like, that seems weird.
And then I looked at the listing and I'm like, no, that says Blade of Goldnight. Like, which one is it? So she doubles the damage you deal and halves the damage you take.
Right. If you're Ollie in this matchup, so has Ollie the scary thing is he hasn't seen a threaten effect yet. He doesn't realize just how many Mark of Mutinies his opponent has. Gisela, I think Gisela gets boarded out here because you can't let her get Mark of Mutiny. You lose when it happens. If you tap up for Gisela and they steal her, you lose the game.
Oh, and she's just too expensive here.
Right, on top of that, were she not scary to get stolen, she would be a good nail in the coffin against zombies. Their cards just don't do anything when she's in play, but unfortunately they have too many ways to steal her.
Right. I mean, again, you have to consider if you're Ali, he hasn't seen any burn spells, right? The classic zombie build, you would have seen Searing Spears and the morbid one. I'm blanking on the name.
Brimstone Ball.
Right.
So if you are then, I mean, this is, I think Ali said in his first 4 rounds he played zombies 3 times. It's a pretty known deck. I still, you know, it's rare that something out of zombies surprises me. If I were to look at this list, the only thing that would be a surprise, it wouldn't be that he has Mark of Mutiny, it would be the quantity of Mark of Mutinies he has.
Sure.
And Ali with a double Rocks Faithmender hand. I don't know how many lands he has. He has 2 lands, 2 lands Farseek.
Oh,
he's gotta like that hand.
Oh, wow. Quadruple the life gain.
He has 2 Rocks Faithmenders and a Thrag Tusk. It's 3 lands, Farseek, Faithmender, Thrag Tusk.
That's 5 times 2
I'm really
times
excited. That's 20 life. Gain 20.
Life. So bad at math.
A turn 1 Blood Crypt. That's exactly how what Ali is pretty happy to see that, and nothing more threatening.
You know the game Cards Against Humanity?
Yes.
There's a card in there, Asians who are bad at math. That's me.
All right. Now the cat's kind of out of the bag on what build Chris Shepard's playing.
But it's game 3, so can't make any changes because of it. Just got to react on the fly.
So Ali has to decide here what he wants this cavern on. I think when his mana's perfect, the correct answer is Demon, but his mana's not perfect yet, so now he has to think like, whoa, think about all the gold creatures in his deck.
Do you think he left Gristlebrand in too?
I don't even know, probably not.
What's Rock's? He's got white mana.
Faithmender's an elephant monk.
Thank you. The speed with which you came up with that.
I love cards that double life gain. If you ever see me playing on Moto as MTG Matthias, you might find me in the casual room playing life gain cards sometimes. He named Demon. Apparently the Gristlebrand's still in there.
Gristlebrand.
So Hallowed Fountain. Interesting. So now he still doesn't have Huntmaster Man, actually.
Well, does he still have another land in his hand?
Unclear.
And yeah, that if he draws a Rootbound Crag, it comes into play tapped still.
Yeah, his mana base. Let's see. He is most of his buddy lands appear to. He has 2 Crags, 2 Harbors. So there's no way to get some. No, you should get something that's also a forest. That would activate most of those lands.
Okay, but he's got the Supreme Verdict. So was that the only way for him to get the blue mana?
Yeah.
Of a Farseek for Supreme Verdict.
So 2 damage by Geralf's Messenger. Bloodthrone's going to swing. Chris wisely is not being super aggressive here. He could have pushed for 2 extra damage by sacking the Messenger. It's good that he didn't.
No, because that...
No, I agree.
Hallowed Fountain also could enable the Supreme Verdict.
So Blood Crypt down for Ali.
He pays the 2 life.
And remember, he can't Detention Sphere the Geralf's Messenger very well. He's gonna slip the Bloodthrone. Now Chris Shepard has to decide.
He's baiting, yeah.
This is fishy. Why would you? The funny part is that you can't save him that way because now Morbid's activated. That pump doesn't save Bloodthorn Vampire.
Whoa, hey, yeah.
Yep, and Ali pointed that out to him. He's like, no,
yeah,
it's still dead. But Ali does take his 2 damage.
Right, but from Chris's standpoint, he probably shouldn't have done that.
I don't think so.
Either way, Ali baited him into a situation where he could get the detention sphere.
Actually, it's fine to do it because this way Ali took 2 and he wouldn't have taken 2 the other way. But the result would have been the same.
But not knowing what was coming.
Right.
Okay, Chris Shepard reloads with another Bloodthorn Vampire Gravecrawler.
Here's where the fun part begins.
Here we go. Right. Have faith.
Number 1.
Hallelujah.
I get really excited about life gain cards, and I have to say right now I'm really excited about this game. I've always said life gain.
Okay,
all right.
Not Sphinx's Revelation because that card is just kind of boring.
Yeah. But life gain is one of the easiest ways to ruin an otherwise perfectly good game of Magic.
Oh, there's the Mark of Mutiny.
It's gonna get swung and eaten.
1, 2, 3.
For 5.
5. And Chris is gonna gain 4 life.
Yep.
Also that Faith Mender.
The Faith Mender is not coming back.
It's gonna get eaten. That's sad.
It's okay. We have another.
I had an M13 draft once. I had the LSP special with Rock's Faith Mender and Touch of the Eternal.
Well, look, that just gains a lot of life.
Here we go. Try again, Ali. Have faith.
Alright, second Rock's Faith Mender, hoping that this one sticks. Remember, if he can land the Thragtusk post here, it's...
Does Chris have another Mark of Mutiny? Or...
Well, if he has one, it's going to be okay, because it looks like Ali has... He has Abrupt Decay in his hand, so he'll be able to decay the Blood-Thrown Vampire. So, yes, he'll take damage, but no, his guy won't get eaten. He's going to go... Yeah, I think it's going to happen again.
Give it.
Yeah, there we go. Abrupt Decay for the Blood Throne. He says, yes, you can have this Faith Mender. And this is a pivotal turn right here. And he's doing Ali's work for him. Now Ali gets a bigger Faith Mender.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Which is actually going to be really relevant.
You still have to attack with everybody.
You don't have any other options.
1, 2, 3, 4. Ali goes to 4. Chris gains another 4 life. But now Ali can attack.
Now Ali is going to gain 14, unfortunately.
Yeah, Ali's going to attack, gain the 4 life back. Play Thragtusk and gain 10.
Yeah. And Thragtusk puts Ali up to 18. And I think into control of the game.
Yes. What, Chris has got 2 cards left?
2 cards left, third on the way.
Even, like, what's his best draw here? Falkenrath Aristocrat, and you still have...
Well, his best draw is anything that can kill the Faith Mender. Gaining 4 life a turn is just too much, and he's going to need... I'm looking at his list. What is something he has? Knight of Infamy would be a good draw here. It would stop the life gain.
Knight of Infamy, Victim of Night.
He does have the Aristocrat, and he's going to attack with it. Not a great attack because it doesn't do anything. Faith Mender's gaining 4 a turn. If he has if he could have Tragic Slip in his hand, and that would be pretty solid. If he has Tragic Slip, then he'd have to... I think you chump the Thragtusk. No, you can't. You just have to sack the Gravecrawler for nothing and then slip the Faith Mender, which, really not exciting.
Right, so if he had the slip, it would have been better to hold back.
Yes.
So, yeah,
he doesn't have it.
He untaps.
Alright, so...
Looks like they're talking about all the life totals. Ali gained another 4 life.
Yeah, so we have... Yeah, so now life total is becoming almost equal here. Chris Shepard isn't, because of the 4 life Ali's gaining, Chris isn't really able to make any headway into Ali's life total.
No, he needs to hold back here and use his Falkenrath Aristocrat as a blocker to take out the Thragtusk. If he has another creature, he can hold both back and threaten to take out the Faith Mender.
It looks like his other creature is another Aristocrat, which is really poorly situated against Rock's Faith Mender. In that, he'll get to take down the Faith Mender, but it's going to cost him an Aristocrat and a Gravecrawler to do it.
Yes. But you have to.
Yeah, you have to do
really
it.
Trade blows. Now he's got 8 power in the air, so he's thinking about it.
You can't trade blows here. 10. Well, okay, you can go down to 10.
Or 8, actually.
Down to 8.
Might as well attack with a Gravecrawler.
You can go down to... That's actually maybe probably down to 8. Ali goes up to 12 on the swing. And then Chris, if he draws, say, another Aristocrat, would be swinging for lethal. It's a lot to ask for if he doesn't have it, but it may be his best out.
I don't like this hedge attack.
No, I think it's all or nothing. You either need to trade with Faith Mender, or you need to just try to... Or just
right, because that
gamble on the next card being, and that's pretty good. The Tragic Slip from Ali is very good here. Chris goes to 10. Ali back up to 18.
If you signed up for $10,000 bet, number 15, please make your way to the size expander by the main event stage.
This is what I say, like, if you're gonna attack, you gotta go all
You gotta
out.
go.
Just turn them all sideways and let your opponent do the thinking.
Right.
This is actually my philosophy in Magic because I'm not a good enough player to like make these complex decisions. So I just put it on my opponent to see if they'll make a mistake.
So just put your opponent in tough situations and trust that they can't navigate them correctly. Ali with the second drag test, gaining
Plus
10.
10.
Go plus 10, 28. That's gonna be the game.
That's one of the worst phrases an aggro deck can hear in Sing.
Gain
right
10.
now. I'll gain 10.
And make a 5-3. Wow. Just wow, that's excellent.
And here's the power of Rock's Faithmender in
Yeah.
this format.
Life gain doubling, it's one of those effects that's kind of dorky but very powerful. You know, cards like Boon Reflection, Rock's Faithmender.
When you have a card like Tusk that is already one of the best in the format, if not the best,
Right.
and you just make it even better. Well, here we go. They're all in there. So yeah, as it turned out, the tragic slip from Ali really broke the back of Chris's chances here. He's just going through the motions. Blocks a Thragtusk, sacks Graves Brawler. Done.
And that's game. Ali Aintrazi, 2 games to 1, defeats Chris Shepard, moves to 7-0, one more win from hopefully getting a spot in the top 8.
Chris Shepard